out today. Marjorie Taylor Greene and I, we came into Congress together. We've been friends for several years now. We both sit on the Homeland Security Committee, and we actually sit next together in that committee. And we've got to know each other. We've got to know each other very well. I actually hosted Marjorie in my district several months back. So not only has she been a leader on border security and holding this administration accountable for the failures, she's also seen it firsthand, has heard from people firsthand, and sadly, things are only getting worse. Nothing is changing, and we can't allow this to be the new norm. Last week, Marjorie's constituents, the Lermas, were killed. American citizens were killed along the border as they were traveling for vacation to see their family members. And this happens every single week. Just a few months ago, in Ozona, Texas, also in my district, the Tampungas, grandmother and her 7-year-old granddaughter, Emmy and Cope, were traveling back from a play date, and they were killed in a high-speed chase due to this border crisis. I mention that because when we talk about the numbers, when you talk about 240,000 people coming over illegally for the month of October, historic numbers, this is what that turns into. The lawlessness and the chaos turns into Americans dying, not to mention the fentanyl and everything else that's going on. And sadly, Washington and other places have become numb to the chaos. We are not numb to it. We're not ever going to be numb to it. And while it's unfortunate that Representative Taylor Greene's resolution didn't get over the finish line last night, we have to make sure that we never stop fighting to hold this administration accountable. It is incumbent on House Republicans. We are the last line of defense, and it can't just be words. There have to be meaningful solutions. Marjorie and I have worked very closely to get H.R. 2. This is the strongest border security package passed out of the House, and we're pushing hard to get the Senate to act and pass some meaningful border security solutions into law. This cannot happen. Every single week, you see these photos. These are innocent Americans that were just living their lives like any of us, are now gone, and they can never be replaced because of this border crisis. This starts here by fixing it here in Washington. I want to thank again my good friend Marjorie Taylor Greene for her leadership, her constant pushing on the issue and holding people accountable and never backing down. No matter win, lose, or draw, she's never going to back down. I'm honored to stand beside her today and continue to fight on border security until we get it done. With that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Mark.
I'd like to thank you personally, Tony. It's an honor to work with you. And Tony has hosted me in his district. As a matter of fact, Tony has hosted most all of us in your district. Tony Gonzales represents the district in Texas that has Eagle Pass. I would call that the front door to the invasion, the open door invasion that the Biden administration keeps going every single day, and Secretary Mayorkas leads it. He breaks our laws, the laws of our country, and allows our country to be invaded by terrorists, criminals, cartels, unknown people from over 160 countries across the world. This is what is happening to America, and these ordinary, regular Americans you see here on these posters are the victims of Secretary Mayorkas' willful breaking of our laws and keeping Biden's open border policies going. And our people have had enough, absolutely had enough. These are the numbers. We just got them out today. They've been reported. The numbers for October, 240,988 migrant encounters at the southern border during the month of October. Tony, I would bet many of them are in your district.
Yes.
And that makes this the highest October on record, the highest ever on record. CBP also reported 13 Border Patrol arrests of people on the FBI terror watch list in October. 12 at the southern border, likely quite a few of them in Tony's district, 1 at the northern border. But I would remind everyone, we have over 1.8 million gotaways on Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas's watch. This is his failure to Americans. How many of those 1.8 million gotaways are terrorists? I would argue thousands of them. But the problem is we don't know. Now here's what else is so devastating. 44,000 migrants were paroled into the U.S. at ports of entry through the Biden administration's use of the CBP-1 app. This is the way that migrants go on their smartphones as they're coming up through Mexico and just make an appointment to come into our country and be transported by buses, airplanes, and sent to hotel rooms all over the country on the taxpayers' dime. We are so fed up with this. How many more Americans have to die? How many more families will never see their loved ones again, like these people you see in these photos? Now here we are, two members of Congress that serve on the Homeland Committee, and as Tony stated, we sit next to each other. We have heard the heart-wrenching stories from witness after witness. Parents whose children have been murdered by Chinese fentanyl that comes into our country through the cartels at the southern border. We have watched them weep. We have mourned with them. 300 Americans die every single day. But think about this. 8 Republicans last night voted with Democrats to shelf and kill my articles of impeachment against Secretary Mayorkas. 8 Republicans. How many more people have to die before 8 Republicans can decide to have the courage to vote yes for impeachment against Alejandro Mayorkas? This cannot go on. I've lost 2 constituents last week. These people were just recently in the last month or so. But this happens every day at the border, and they are invisible. Congress is tone deaf. We don't need more hearings. We don't need more strongly worded letters. We don't need more posts and social media posts. We don't need any more of that. Americans are fed up with it. We need impeachment. And that is the tool that our founders gave us in the Constitution. I am particularly outraged at 4 of the 8 Republicans that voted to shelf these articles of impeachment, voted to kill them, because 4 of them serve on the Judiciary Committee. And I want you to know that my articles of impeachment have been in the Judiciary Committee for 6 months sitting on a shelf. So these 4 Judiciary members, Republicans, voted to send them back up on the shelf where they will never be picked up and see the light of day, marked up in a committee and move forward. It's outrageous. And I have to say, one of them is Darrell Issa, and he said that I lack maturity. Well, I want you to know, it takes maturity to vote for impeachment. It takes seriousness to vote for impeachment, because we aren't going to stand by and watch our constituents get murdered by cartel members who are smuggling illegal aliens illegally into our country. It takes maturity to act, and we are ready to act. We are fed up with it. Now, here's the deal. Americans are fed up with it, and Congress has to stop being tone deaf. Tony and I can quote the numbers to you on and on and on, but the biggest thing that we want is we want to see action from our conference. We want to see boldness and courage among Republicans to do the right thing for the American people so that no more Americans die from the Biden administration's open border policy that violates our laws and our Constitution. Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas must be impeached, and that's why I will reintroduce my articles of impeachment in a privilege resolution once again on the House floor, and I dare those 8 Republicans to shelf them again. It's time to do something about it. We must move forward. Tony, I thank you so much. I really thank your courage and how you represent your district and fight on this issue. So I want to keep working with you on this. Thank you. And we can take questions if anybody has them.
What's the next step for impeaching Mayorkas? When do you intend to refile those articles?
That would depend on our floor schedule. So I've got to see what our floor schedule is and what our votes are.
And those 8 members who voted against, they said they wanted to wait till the process and the investigation to complete itself in Homeland Security. What's your response to that?
I think that's a weak excuse. The process is a vote. That's how you impeach someone. We don't need to prove the numbers. We have the stories. They're proven right here. and they're proven every single day. 300 Americans die every single day. How many more Americans do they want dead before they're willing to push that button? I can assure you their phone lines are being lit up today. Their names are all over social media. Their constituents know how they voted, and they should have never done it. They shouldn't have done it. And voting is our job. That's our job, and our record is public. And no one can get mad if people are upset about our votes, because you have to stand by your vote. But like I said, articles of impeachment, mine, and there's others on Mayorkas, have been sitting on the shelf in the Judiciary Committee. So they can't argue that they want to work the process when 4 of them serve on the Judiciary Committee and have not picked up articles of impeachment, moved them forward, and voted them out of their committee. That's an excuse that I'm not going to buy, and I don't think the American people are buying either.
I have a question for Congressman Gonzales. So some of your primary challengers have come out and said you're now talking more openly about border security because of re-election issues. What's your response to that?
I've been in Congress Marjorie and I have been in Congress almost 3 years now. This is our second term. My very first bill was the Security First Act, literally days after I was elected. And here we are 3 years later. Nothing has changed. It's only gotten worse. And what's happening is Americans are now being killed on a daily basis. So this is well beyond politics. This is well beyond a party. This is about our country. It's about how do we make this end. In my district, which is 800 miles of the southern border, stretches from San Antonio to El Paso, nearly half of the overall southern border. What you're seeing here, these Americans that are killed, it's happening every single week. I'll tell you about the Lerma family. I get a call from the sheriff of Zavala County about an hour after it occurred. He goes, Tony, there was another car accident. This time, 2 Americans were killed. And I go, okay, what happened? He walks me through it. They were coming from Georgia on their way to Mexico. And here we are trying to help that family bury their loved ones. This has to end. And this has to end with us. And once again, I give a lot of credit to Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene going, you know what? Enough's enough. We are going forward. I'm not going to stop. We're not going to let up. We were really only four votes short of passing this thing. I mean, it was right there. And we cannot, House Republicans cannot be the party of do nothing. The American people are counting on us to make this crisis stop. Maybe we don't get it all. Maybe in 2023 we get a chunk, and then when we win back the presidency, we come back in 2025 and re-implement the Trump policies that worked. But I've been very clear. My record's been very clear. I've hosted over 100 members of Congress. I've done over 20 different congressional delegations. My positions have not changed from day one.